how did we triple our ad spend while decreasing our cost by 60% in just 2 months? Well, let me show you how. Hey guys, what's going on? Yuri Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals get more clients, help those clients without one-on-one coaching necessarily, and scale their businesses online without the grind. So recently, we had 2 of our worst months in my 6 years since starting Healthpreneur. So it was really bad, like bad to the point where I was like, if this ever happens again, I'm not going to be very happy. We'll just put it that way. But I don't let things hold me down for very long. I think being in business for 17 years, you kind of learn how to roll with the punches and kind of overcome challenges. But I got really pissed off. Like December and January for us. So December 2021, January 2022 were just horrific. And again, it's all relative, right? So some other people might be like, well, that's still a really good month. But relative for us, they were not good. And so I got really pissed off, and I didn't stay in that space for very long. I used that to fuel this impetus of this is never going to happen again, and here's how we're going to fix this. So let me share with you how we got into that situation in the first place. So as you may or may not know, our business model runs on the engine called Perfect Client Pipeline. So it's Facebook ads to a webinar, application, phone call. Okay, so that's what we do. It's 95% of our client acquisition comes from that. It's exactly what all of our clients do. It's exactly what's helped our clients generate more than $217 million in their businesses, helping hundreds of thousands of their clients collectively. It works. Okay, but we've been doing this for the past 6 years, so we're not just like, hey, let's give it a shot. Have a good day. When I started Healthpreneur, that's what I did with my time. I was, okay, I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm going to make sure it works. I'm going to live in my ads manager. I'm going to tweak my webinar where needed. I'm going to take my sales calls, and I'm just going to master this stuff. So for the first year and a bit, I ran all my own ads. So I was in the ads manager on Facebook, and I was running everything, writing the copy, running the ads, and it was doing well, very well. But I got to a point where I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to run the ads myself. Like, I love advertising. I just don't want to push the buttons inside the ads manager. And so that began the journey over the next 4.5 years of working with various agencies to do that for us. Now, caveat, we were well over $1 million in revenue at this point, okay? So if you're watching this and you're like at 10 grand a month and you think you're going to outsource to an agency, trust me, keep watching this. It's going to save your business. And don't outsource any of your marketing until you're more than $1 million in revenue, because you still haven't mastered much until you're at that point. But I'm going to share a big lesson with you that's going to save you potentially millions of dollars and a lot of years. I don't regret anything in my life, nothing. But if I could turn back the clock and do one thing different, it would be this. Knowing what I know now, okay? So 4 different agencies / Facebook ad providers, and I'm not talking about like people you hire for $2,000 a month. I'm talking like the best agencies on the planet who charge 5 figures a month as a retainer plus a percentage of ad spend. Okay, like I'm talking significant investment on a monthly basis to work with these people. Okay, we did that for 4.5 years. And we obviously changed over time, whatever. So December and January were horrific this year. And I just got to the point where I said, okay, what's the pattern been here? The pattern's been when we're done with one agency, we find another one. And then when that one doesn't work out, we find another one. And I said, listen, if I keep repeating the pattern, we're going to get the same results. So I said to myself, I'm never hiring another agency ever again. And we're going to bring everything in-house. And this has been the second big realization with that same issue that also happened about 1.5 years ago with some other stuff, sales related, where we had outsourced to an agency and it was just shit. So I said, I'm going to bring everything in-house. And because one of our core principles is like every person on our team needs to have owner-like responsibility, like owner-like commitment to what it is they do. And when you work with an agency, you're one of many of their clients. right? And here's the thing is that listen, like we have hundreds of clients that we work with, but we don't do the work for them. They do the work with us. So if I had to do the work for my clients, run their ads, write their creative, run their sales calls, for instance, I would not be working with several hundred clients. You can't. This is the problem with agencies, is that the amount of time they devote to your business is very limited. And where attention goes, energy flows and results show. If there's anything you remember from this, write that down. Because if an agency is working on your stuff, and God forbid, you're only paying them a couple grand a month, they're not going to be that good. But if you're a fraction of their attention, your results are going to be a fraction of what they could be. So anyways, so February rolls around and I'm like, okay, this has got to stop. By March, like February was a little bit better. March was like a little bit better, but it was like the growth was so slow. And I was like, I set the KPIs from day one. This is about 5 months into working with this agency. And I'm like, guys, like we're getting nowhere. Like, why are we not getting there faster? And it's like, oh, we need, time to scale and like test. I'm like, our account's been running for 5.5 years. Like, how much more testing do you need to do? And so I just said, that's it. I'm taking end of this month, March, taking full control over the accounts, and I'm running the ads myself. I'm in there in the weeds. So I started that April 1. And very quickly, I did a huge audit of our accounts. I was going through every single campaign, ad set, ad. And I'm like, what's happening here? Why are we paying? Why is this running? We're paying so much for a lead and the cost per call booked, etc. Why is this on? What is this audience? Blah, blah, blah. And I just started cutting shit and pruning. And I'm just like, man, there's just a lot of wastage here. So I'm just cutting like a machete through a jungle, getting rid of all this nonsense. And at the same time, refining our internal playbook for how we want to run our ads. Because one thing I've recognized, guys, there's a lot of advice. You can go on YouTube and you can find all sorts of trainings and advice on how to scale ads, how to set them up, campaign structure. And there are some very, very, high-level people that I'm still in contact with and that we've worked with who have their ideas about how to do things as well. And unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't pan out. I mean, in some cases it does, but I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I used all of April to just start testing very aggressively. Now I'm talking about testing new ads at like $500 a day minimum. Because for me, I didn't want to waste time. I'm like, I don't want to spend $50 a day and take a month to get enough data to be statistically significant. I was willing to place a bet on myself and our copy, proven stuff that had worked in the past. I'm like, cool, let's run this $500 a day. I'm going to be on top of it, monitor it, chop what isn't working, let what is working run. That way, when we can scale it, it can just go faster. So in the previous month, I don't need to share the numbers with you because it might give away some of our secret sauce, but the previous month, we were paying, X number of dollars for a call booked, which, by the way, in a coaching business, I believe is the most important leading indicator for the growth of your business, okay? So we have this many, we were paying this amount for a call booked. To this date, right, as I'm shooting this video, like middle of May, whatever we are, I have reduced the cost per call booked by 60%, which is basically, I've cut it more than half. So just think about this in your business. Let's say that you're spending, you're paying $100 to get a call booked. Imagine being able to spend $40 to get a call booked. How would that change things for your business? It would be pretty dramatic, right? Okay, and I'm going to share the lessons about how you can apply this in your business in just a second. So, cost per call booked dramatically decreases, more than by half. At the same time, cost per lead goes down about 30 to 35%. And we've tripled our ad spend. We're now spending more than $13,000 a day in ad spend, okay? And that's only going to continue going up. And just in case you're wondering, we do that profitably. You're not going to spend $13,000 a day if you're not making money. Profitably, not just revenue. We're very on top of our numbers, which is the only way you can scale ads. I'm not saying you have to spend this amount of money, okay? But I'm going to just kind of work through some of the learnings here, the lessons. So we tripled our ad spend and faster than I had ever done in the past, because you may have heard this. Well, when you start scaling, ROI goes down and your cost per whatever goes up. And that is true when you scale based on what most people teach you. And I thought to myself, all right, I tested this and I tested that and got those types of increased, more expensive conversions. And I said, well, what if I tested it this way? And I did something completely different that I've not really seen anywhere else. And I'm just like, let's go with this and see what happens. And it's allowed us to scale so rapidly, like insane, without compromising our cost per lead, our cost per call booked, our cost per client. We've reduced the cost per acquisition almost in half. So what we pay to acquire one client has decreased almost in half. So you can imagine in the space of less than 2 months, how big of a difference this can make on a business. I want you just to think of this in the context of your business, right? If you're not running ads, listen, don't run ads if you don't know what you're doing. Run ads if you know what you're doing, especially with our help, because it's crazy. Like I'll be shooting some update videos on this over the next couple months, but I promise you, we'll be spending $1 million a month very shortly. And there are bottlenecks that happen in the business when you spend that amount of money. Like you have to hire new people to do sales calls, et cetera. Then like delivery breaks, you got to hire more people on the delivery side of the coaching. How you build all that needs to be improved, and it's fun. It's a great challenge to take on. So I don't get scared by that. I told my team, I'm like, get ready for things to break, because they're going to break and we're going to fix them and make them better. So anyways, so here's the lessons. So how do we do all this? Number one is I took full control over the marketing. And when I realized what was happening, I was like, guys, we can be testing new ads every single day. Why are we not? Because where attention goes, energy flows, results show. If you have an agency that has 20, 25, 30 clients, they don't have time to work on your stuff every day. You suffer. When you take ownership of that, how long does it take me to run our ads? How long does it take me to manage our ad account at $13,000 a day ad spend right now? I'll tell you, 1 hour a day. That's it. Spend some time in the morning pruning some stuff, spend some time in the evening pruning some stuff. One of the days, a couple days during the week, I'll launch some new ads. And then I just monitor, prune, let the winners go. It takes me 1 hour a day. It's a good use of my time. Initially. Now we are hiring for a full-time in-house media buyer who understands what the hell they're doing. That way I can step out of this and work with them so they have full focus on our business. So that's the first thing, is you will never get the results you want with fractional attention. And that's what you're going to get with an agency every single time. And guys, if you think I have like a bias against agencies, please talk to any other successful business owner about their experience with agencies. And most of the time they'll tell you the same thing. I wish I would have brought this in-house. I'm never hiring an agency again. It's a fucking disaster. Okay. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real with you guys, because I just see this mistake, and I've spent a lot of money on agencies over the 4.5 years, and I could have put that into our ad spends and helped more people. Okay, so that's number one. Two, okay, so every business has a main engine upon which it's built, an engine that drives all the acquisition, whatever, right? It's called a business model. Now, if you don't have a business model, you have a job. Okay, so if you're just grinding and hustling and just posting stuff on social, if you're like an influencer, it's not a business, let's be honest. But most businesses have a very predictable way that they generate leads, clients, revenue. Now, if you do not intimately know, understand, and hopefully get to a point of mastery of that engine, then you will always be at the mercy of other people who think or tell you that they can do a better job, but they can't. So and I had this conversation last week with someone else, I'll just tell you that in a second, but the only reason I was able to take full control of my ad accounts again was because, number one, I understand how to run Facebook ads. Number two, I understand how to write copy. I understand the messaging. I understand how to connect with my audience. That's stuff that you should never delegate. You need to own your message. Like, you have to get good at this. I spoke with a colleague last week who's in real estate, and $500,000 a month, heavily dependent on Facebook ads, and they just let go of their ad agency. Their revenue dropped in half as a result of that. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, you're kind of stuck because you don't know how to run the ads yourself and you're not writing your own copy. So This is the big problem that a lot of people run into, where they delegate everything they don't want to do because they think it's like, oh, I'd rather just teach and work with clients. And that's fine. You should do that for sure. But you can't delegate marketing and sales until you've mastered it yourself. It's a very, 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 very big mistake I see, because like when it comes to enrolling and marketing, teaching is marketing. Like what I'm doing here is marketing. I'm teaching. I love doing this, right? And I'll do this until I can't speak anymore. But the reason I'm able to do this is because I don't depend on videos like this to drive business for us. There's such a small percentage of how our business has grown. Now, 10 years down the road, that might be different. But if I had to rely on these videos to generate new clients, I would not be in business. So you have to understand intimately well and to a level of mastery your business model, the primary engine through which you bring new clients and new revenue in. Because if you don't understand that, you are always at the mercy of other people who are in most cases subpar in most things. There are like most businesses, if you think about this, most just businesses in general, airlines, restaurants, hotels, etc., stores, cafes, are mediocre at best. So if you want to hand over everything to a mediocre provider because someone else said that was a good option or whatever, that's on you. But I would much rather you learn the skill of better messaging, of how to reach more people, ideally through paid traffic, of getting on the phone with people, learning how to have those conversations, understanding how to overcome objections. You have to learn these different skills, and it's very, very learnable. I didn't know any of this stuff, and I learned all of it. The thousands of clients we worked with mostly didn't come in knowing all this stuff. And in the space of 6 to 12 months, they're 5 to 7 years ahead of almost everyone else in the space because they were willing to learn and invest in the skill acquisition, as opposed to saying, I don't want to do this, you do this. It's like my kids. I don't do anything for them because if I do, I rob them of the opportunity to get better. Hey, Dad, can you tie my shoes? No, you tie them. But I don't know how to tie them. Okay, let me show you how to do it a couple times and then you do it. But it's hard. You can, I don't care. You can fucking figure that out for 30 minutes if you have to. You have to struggle. Struggle creates success. I don't want to do the dishwasher. I don't care. Do the dishwasher. I don't know how to make my bed. Make your bed. I've shown you how to make it before. Make it and figure it out. As soon as we start doing things for people, we rob them of the opportunity for growth. And this is very important as a business owner, is that you have to learn some of the fundamental skills in your business, but it doesn't mean you have to do all this stuff for the rest of your life. I mean, I have more time than I know to do with. I mean, I could work 1 hour a day if I want to and I'm done. But I find stuff for myself to do because I love working. But I learned the skills I had to learn, and I'm continuing to evolve as a leader to level up and skill up so that I can continually elevate my team, my clients, and myself. But if I just said, I just want to teach all day and work with my clients and I'm not going to learn any of this stuff, I would still be broke. And I don't want that to be, I don't want that to be your situation. Okay. So anyways, that's how we tripled our ad spend while decreasing our cost by 60% in just 2 months. Number one was just stopping outsourcing arguably the most important piece of our business. And number two is previously and continuously mastering the skill of marketing, of messaging, of amplification of that message, and learning how to convert people who've never heard of you into paying clients. Make sense? So I hope this message rings true for you. And if this helps, here's one last thing to think about. Imagine your clients come to you and you tell them, here's what I need you to do. I need you to change the way you're eating. I need you to exercise. And they're like, I don't want to do that. I would love for you to do that. And you're like, that's not how it works. I can't do your setups. I can't eat your food for you. You have to make the change if you want to change. So just think of it from that context. Like, you can't do the work for your clients. Now in business, obviously there are things that we can outsource, but it's very dangerous if you don't know how to do it properly. And it's very dangerous if you outsource and delegate too soon in your journey. All right, guys, that's all for me today. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button as they see it here on the YouTubes, and I'll see you in the next video.